Hi guys, this clip that Times Radio put together is really frightening. There are ordinary people who are still of the mind that things are improving and that the Tories should be given another chance. Or that the Labour Party will mess things up and it's better to stick with the Conservatives. Here are some undecided voters who have now picked the Tories or are leaning in that direction. Is this a harbinger for Thursday? Are there still those out there who think that Rishi Sunak is the best person for the job?
Keir Starmer does not inspire me that he could lead a country. I think he would struggle to run a bath, let alone lead a country, without the help of Angela Rayner. So yeah, that's probably, if at this moment in time at 12:45, I would probably put my ex in the Conservative box. But if you ask me again at 2:00 this afternoon, it may well be different.
I think Labour will kill us as a country. I agree with what Malcolm just said. We are just coming out the other side of COVID and things like that, and I would probably just say Conservative. Yeah,
I would love to say reform, but I really don't think the things he's going to say is going to happen. So I also would then go to Conservative, because to give them that little bit longer to try to get it all together.
Probably Conservative. I know it's glutton for punishment, but I just don't trust a Labour government, and that's my thing. And like the others have said, probably we can see little bits of green shoots and things happening. You know, things are getting a bit better. I think under Labour they wouldn't. I would like to see Reform become the second party that hold them to accounting Prime Minister's question time.
I don't want to vote Conservative, but they're still edging it for me. I don't trust Labour. And like it's been mentioned before, and I mentioned, I am starting to see positive change happen in certain areas that I'm personally seeing an impact for, and I worry with a Labour government if that will slide away. So I'm leaning towards stick with it for another couple more years and vote Conservative and see where it goes.
I would say I'm just probably leaning towards the Conservatives.
I don't think it's the right time to switch governments at the moment, so I would say Conservatives, just because there is slight improvements with the economy. I would just play it safe and just say to stick to Conservatives at the moment, because Labour is not kind of screaming at me that they're going to do anything better anyway, so I'd say Conservatives.
Reform did catch my eye, but the only thing that's putting me off voting Reform is leaving the Human Rights Act. I don't really know what that would entail for the UK. I think that's just what puts me off voting for Reform, that leaving the Human Rights Act. So yeah, my vote would stick with Conservative, like what everyone else said. Like, give them the last chance of, you know, being in for the next, was it 4 or 5 years, and see if there's any further improvement. If not, then they've tried, then I guess it would be time for a change then, because it obviously hasn't worked this time.
Oh my goodness, where the heck do they find these people? Have they been living under a rock for the last 14 years? Do they not need public services like the NHS? Do they not see shuttered shops on their high street and the rising the cost of living? Okay, let's get to each of them. Okay, so the first guy believes that Starmer couldn't run the country. But which is a weird criticism, because in the past he's been an advisor on legal issues and human rights considerations during the transition from the RUC to the PSNI in Northern Ireland. He of course was the head of the CPS for about 5 years and helped see the killers of Stephen Lawrence be brought to justice. So he does have experience running stuff. The next lady said, and I quote, "Labour will kill us as a country," whatever that means. Then she claimed that it was better to stick with the Tories because of the pandemic. Does she remember what happened when Boris Johnson was in charge? The next is a potential Reform UK voter who isn't really convinced by Nigel Farage. Then the fourth person interviewed seems to be embarrassed or ashamed to vote Tory, but like the others double down on the economy is turning a corner, which Rishi Sunak has used as a trick before. Then number 5 was another guy who thinks that things are improving and doesn't want to risk it, and mentioned positive change. What positive change? And then the final lady was talking about human rights when it came to Reform UK, which of course she's talking about Nigel Farage's call to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. Now of course most voters think that this only affects asylum seekers and migrants. How wrong they are. And of course she ended with, might as well stick with the Tories, which includes members who want to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. At the end, she said, give the Tories another 5 years as another chance. So that will be about 20 years of Tory rule. What the hell? So these are some of the people who are going to vote this week. If you're sitting on the fence and don't vote, these people will vote on your behalf. People who think that things are improving and will continue to do so. People who think that the NHS and social care is safe in the hands of the Tories. People who think the Conservatives handled the pandemic well, or as well as anyone could have. People who have the memory span of a goldfish. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.